Hey, am I wearing you out typing?
Well, I mean, I don't want to waste your time. I want to give you. If you've seen the videos, I give everybody a fair chance to just tell their story, and then I'll give an opinion on the Blankenships being a piece of shit and McKnight being a bitch, and those guys are punk ass fools because they need to be disrespected. Straight up, they need to be disrespected. That's the whole point.
Well,
I can't respect people who are beating on people like this.
Right. TJ got a hold of me before, I guess, you came in town and sent me the video of CPS. And my problem with the city was years ago. But it's all.
Let me start. Hold on. Let's start at the beginning, Beth. Tell me the beginning of this journey.
But can you distort my voice? Everybody's going to know it's me.
Beth, it's time for you to lead. You're the good cop. You belong on the force. I want you with a badge. You should get your job back. You're the good person, Beth. No more hiding. Come out and tell them. Because you're an ex-cop, meaning the Justice Department gets involved.
Yes. Well, I've been to the Supreme Court, and that was all a buddy system.
The Supreme Court is not. It's appointed monarchs. Ultimately, I'm going to become an executive power.
I'm talking about the Ohio court.
I am too, but I need you to start at the beginning in chronological order. Tell me how this journey begins for Beth Rist.
I have every single thing documented in my totes. I got them out tonight.
No, hold on. Day one, you become a police officer. Is this where this starts?
February 2nd, 1996.
Okay, now you become a police officer. You're a woman, you're a lesbian in a hick town. So now move forward to me and tell me where the first problem starts. 96, do you enter a system of a silent blue wall?
No.
Do you keep secrets from the public? Do you see other cops abuse people and keep it a secret like most cops do?
No, that's why I got fired.
So 96, paint me forward and I'll let you talk.
Okay. February 2nd, 1996, I was the first woman. I took the test with Pam and Tony Forrest and I think Brian Pauly. But
Pam Wagner, current chief of police.
Yes.
Okay.
I worked with her for about 11 years.
Okay. All right.
So I've already talked to her recently because I was on city council and I just retired in November of this past year. So I got fired in 2008.
So how does it go though? I need to know though. From 96 until 2008, you're in one of the most corrupt areas of America. Tell me, from 1996 to 2008, did you witness corruption as a police officer?
Yes, I did.
And tell me exactly, did you witness beatings?
Yes, of Jesse Johnson.
Jesse Johnson was beaten. Did you witness or did you hear of them killing anybody?
I heard rumors, but I don't have no proof.
So, where there's smoke, eventually you can get to the fire.
Right.
You heard rumors that the cops were involved in killing who?
I was hit physically by a cop, and another cop tried to stir the pot and told me to go to the hospital, and then that's what started the first lawsuit. And then they offered me money to settle in 97, I think it was, 98. And I said, I'll take half that. So
that's your first interaction is a punch by a cop in 1998, 1997?
Yes. He hit me in the back, and then they didn't want me to work. They didn't want me to write tickets because that made them have to get up out of their chair at the station and come back me up. See? And they didn't want to have to work, so they told me to quit pulling people over. Then I pulled over Skip Wiley, and he was a banker. He was the CEO of U.S. Bank on the Railroad Street. It's on where the railroad tracks are, right there across from Dollar Tree. you know, you were there today, I think, at the dollar store.
Why does the cop hit you?
I don't know. I was just standing in the hallway.
What was the cop's name?
Bill Garland. William Garland.
Is he still a cop?
Garland.
Is he still a cop?
No, he's still alive, but he's
okay. So you department
one of many.
So pretty much, tell me what happens here. When you get punched, of course, there's a report made. Do you report him?
Yes, and
okay.
Nothing happened, but I had to go to a chiropractor for a while, and so I filed something with the union and a grievance. I filed a grievance for getting struck by another officer, and he said, if you can't take that, you need to quit this job. I said, if you want to hit me when you're looking at me, not hit me in the back. And that's exactly what I said to him. And I would be in the bathroom, and they would go by in with their nightsticks and hit him up against the door. And there was no women's bathroom at the time. And it was just awful. I mean, from 1996 to 2008, all I did was try to work. And every time you can ask anybody in Ironton. I know that people have mentioned my name to you. I've heard it on the videos. But you can ask anybody in Ironton. Every time I pulled somebody over and gave them a ticket, I apologized and said, I'm sorry to bother you and cause you to have to pay a ticket, but I'm just doing my job. And everybody
you take people to the dungeon, though, Beth. You took people to the dungeon for warrants. So, I mean, you should
for
repent.
Warrants, yes, I did. Yes,
you
I
should
sure
say
did.
You're sorry for that, and you should really do some repenting for taking people to a dungeon. And that's okay, Beth, because you're going to lead now. You're sorry for giving people tickets. Time for you to lead. You have the ability now to change things. So I need to know what you saw as far as corruption was from 1996 to 2008.
Okay.
Who did what, and when did they do it, and who did they do it to? You gave me a name earlier, Jackson, Jesse Jackson?
Jesse Johnson.
Jesse Johnson?
Was just an old drunk, and he was homeless, and me and Pam had a call in the right behind of PNC Bank down there across from the courthouse, and he was drunk, and he called me Cotton Top all the time because of my blonde hair, and she kicked him, and I witnessed it. And
Pam did. Pam kicked him.
Pam, there wasn't no need for that, and I was always good to Jesse. And but I don't want to get in a big stir with Pam.
You already are, Beth. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. You're not private. You lead. That's what I'm trying to get across to you.
Okay.
It's time to come out of the dark. Why would you hide the things that are bad? They're not going to hurt you.
I'm writing a book, and I've got the lawsuit here
right.
at the house.
But, okay, well then tell me what else. Pam kicked him? Where'd she kick him at?
In the leg. Tony,
how
he was sleeping under a set of steps in the alley behind PNC Bank. I think it was called another bank at the time back then. But and then
just asleep?
He was just laying there underneath there sleeping, yeah. And somebody called on him and said,
someone called on him, so he's sleeping there. Big deal, he's just bum. You know, he's just a homeless person, doesn't have any money, and so he's sleeping and addicted to drugs, probably, and alcohol, and he's sleeping there.
Yeah, I said, wake up, Jesse. I said, wake up, Jesse, and she kicked him, and he woke up, and I don't know if I can't remember if we took him there or not, but it's all documented. I wore a wire.
You were wearing a wire?
Myself. Yeah, I had a tape player that I duct tape around my ankle, and a cord that went up through my pants underneath my vest, and I've got the president of the union that I'm supposed to go to if I need help, Ron Kettle, Kettle. I told him, I said, I really need some help. I'm getting harassed. He said, I know what's going on. Don't rock the boat. And I've got that on tape.
What about Pam kicking the guy? Do you have that on tape?
No, I don't have that on tape. We didn't have body cams back then.
Well, you had the wire on the wire.
No, I don't. I'd have to look at my tapes. I've got them all. I just have to listen to them. It's been years.
I want to meet with you tomorrow. I want to get those tapes. I want to digitize them, and I want to send them to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Okay? So that if anything ever happens to me or you, I have a friend who has those tapes.
Okay.
What else would you see when you were a cop that was corruption here?
Well, just unnecessary.
Do people get beat in handcuffs? Do they get put in handcuffs and the police beat them up?
Yeah. I mean,
do they put them in the back of the cruiser in handcuffs, seatbelt or no seatbelt, and punch them in the face and elbow them and beat them?
I was on a call on 6th and what is that street? 6th and Oak, right there, right straight out from the high school. And oh God, I just don't know about all this. I'm scared.
It's done. It's already done, Beth. You've already done it. Now lead. Tell the story.
Anyway, the cop in front of me, huh?
Let them hear you. You
the guy
belong.
In front of me pulled over real quick and got out, and I had given the guy that we arrested, he had a cigarette and lighter in his pants. He said, "Can I please have a cigarette?" And he was handcuffed, so I didn't see anything, wrong with letting him have a cigarette.
Right.
The window was cracked
he's
and everything.
Going to jail.
So
he's not going to get another cigarette.
The officer was in front of me, and he was in the back of that officer's car, and his name was Rich Atkins, the officer. And he pulled over. I guess that guy spit that cigarette through the screen. Back then there were screens instead of glass. And hit the officer in the back of the neck. Well, Rich got out and just wore him out, and right there in the street. And I just stood there and then helped him cuff him. But I didn't know what to do because I was just, I was new and I was the first woman, and I was being harassed. What do you do who do you go for to ask for help if you're the only female and it's a corrupt system? Who do you ask for help? I went to the mayor, and the only mayor that ever helped me is Bob Perry, and he please put his name down because he's on city council right now, and I'm on the cemetery board with him right now, and I was appointed to that after I resigned in November on a city council. So I just thought, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it. It's just, and I was ill, and I was.
What year was this?
I've got PTSD. I've got these kids were hit by a train, and I was the first officer there, and I had to see all the body parts, and I've been in therapy for years for PTSD, all because of trains in the police department, all because of what they put me through.
So now you watch Rick beat him up.
Rich.
When you said does Rich beat him while he's in the back of the car in handcuffs, or does he pull him out of the car?
No, he dragged him out. He dragged him out of the car and hit him.
Now, he's still in cuffs when he hits him?
Yeah, he was still in cuffs.
And then, so after that, you have nowhere to turn. So there's no third party that has nothing to do with police, never served in police, never. Internal affairs is the same as police. We know that through all three police commissions. So So you have nowhere to turn, and so you turn to this guy named, what's his name again? City councilman?
Bob Clary. He was
Bob
the
Clary,
mayor when I was a cop.
What do you tell him? Do you tell him your story? Do you tell him what you're going through?
I told him my story, and he looked out for me. He did look out for me, and he told me if I had any other complaints to come in, and they just wrote me up for everything. We went to bicycle school. Me, Dan Johnson, Tony Forrest, the black guy that's down there, Ron Kettle, the one who was the union representative, who told me not to rock the boat, that the chief knew all about it, not to rock the boat. And, who else was it? We all went to bicycle school at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And there was a pool going on at the police department that I wouldn't make it through it, but I did make it through it. And, of course...
What year? Is this 1996? 1996? 1997?
No, this is May of 98.
May of 98. And the guys are all having a betting pool on you?
Yeah, at the station.
That's nice.
And then I would, every day... And then when I first started working on my bike, when we first started using them, you could sneak up on people who were smoking weed or whatever at the park, or you could sneak up on people doing something wrong, and they can't hear you coming because you don't have a siren. You just got lights and a water bottle. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have body cams or anything like that. So, but I was coming down 6th Street and right in front of Mark McCown's house, and my bicycle, I wrecked my bicycle and hurt my knee. Well, there was a city crew right across the street working there at someone's yard on something, and they saw me have the wreck. And the guy who saw me was Reb Beasley, Beasley, Reb Beasley, R-E-B. He saw me have the wreck. Well, I called in. Somebody came and got me and got the bike, and then the next day, Rodney McFarland was the chief then, and his secretary was Sharon Webb, and this may be 99 or so. But listen, this goes on until 2008. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't, because you're not telling me all the stories. So then we.
There's so many of them. I have to read my journal.
Right, but you're going to recall a few beatings and a few people who were raped and ignored just off the top of your head because they haunt you. That's why you're on the phone with me, because they haunt you. That's true. And you have to get them off your soul. So tell me another story. Tell me another story of corruption.
Oh, gosh. This is hard. This one guy on 2nd and Pearl, North 2nd Street and Pearl, he died, and I'll probably get killed over this. You know what I mean? Are you there?
I'm listening to the story. You're not going to get killed. Okay.
Anyway, guy at 2nd and Pearl had been dead for several days. His mail was accumulated, and the post office contacted us for a wellness check. I know you know what that is. So we went. I was the first one there, and there was blood everywhere, all over the walls, and there was all kinds of medication on the kitchen table, and he was naked, and the man was naked and laying dead in the floor. Well, he had gunshot wounds from a long time ago, where he must have been in the service or something. But I noticed that immediately, so I called for my sergeant to come, and that was Lon Hilton, Lonhilton, Lon Hilton. Good guy. He got fired for taking up for me and lost his job. And that was, it's all documented. But it's all public record. It's all at the court. It's online. You know, it's case law.
What happened with the guy on second though? He's dead, and he's there, and you call your supervisor, and then what happens next?
Well, the detectives come at the time, and they left his body laying there, and they told me to write up the report. And I sat down on the couch right next to his body and was writing up the report. And I could hear them talking, and they was going through drawers and everything else, and they took that man's guns and his money and everything else that they could take out of that house. And I didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want to be a part of that.
I wouldn't either, because those guns are heirlooms for his sons and grandsons, and for his daughters and granddaughters, and for the people in his family. That's what those are for. Those are not yours to take. And so who are the other officers besides Lon Hilton? Is his name Lon Hilton?
Well, Mark Wilson, he was always good to me. But
I don't care. If he's stealing dead guy's property, he's not that good of a person, whether or not you guys are friends. That's the entire problem with the Blue Stripe. Because
Chris
you guys
Bowman
are friends.
Was detective.
Chris Bowman was the detective, so he's in there stealing stuff too, of someone who's killed himself.
Well, things have a way of getting in. Just say they don't have a very big evidence room down there, because it gets either somebody gets it and takes it home, or either somebody sells it or whatever. But that's what I witnessed. Everything that someone would come in to get their gun out of the inventory. Well, it's not there. Well, where's it at? Well, we don't know. You know. And
what are the other? Who are the other cops on the scene?
They knew that I did my job and that I wanted to do right by the people and help people. And they
Who are the other cops on the scene? Who are the other cops there? When there's a dead person, there's 20 cops there. What other cops were in on the tape?
No, not in Ironton. There's only 3. That was me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I live in a city.
Yeah, we only have 2 on a shift most of the time.
Me and who else? Chris who?
Chris Bowman and Lon Hilton. Lon Hilton was sergeant, and Chris Bowman was captain, a detective.
And who were the detectives again?
Chris Bowman.
Oh, so there's only 3 people there total?
Yeah, me, Chris Bowman, and Lon Hilton.
Mm-hmm. And you have no one to turn to, because if you say anything to anybody, you've already. I got
reprimanded for everything.
Right.
I worked out with weights, and I was in very good shape. I played ball in college, and
go ahead, sorry.
Huh?
Played ball in college? What softball? Did softball in college?
I got a scholarship at the University of Charleston in West Virginia, and I got All-American. I'm in the Hall of Fame at the University of Charleston. I'm in the Hall of Fame at Ironton High School. Totally I got inducted in 2019 in the Hall of Fame at Ironton High School, and 2010 at University of Charleston.
Did you verify it was softball?
Basketball.
Oh, wow. You're really an athlete. Holy smokes. That's super impressive. Wow. Yeah,
every time I would do something like that, they'd put that in the paper, which make them guys even more pissed off at me for being there.
Oh, because they're beta males, and you're an actual champion.
Yes, and the very first time I had any problem was when we had the physical fitness test, and this man tormented me for years. We had to try out for the police department. We had a physical
Who tormented
test.
You?
Grover Carter.
What's he doing now? Is he still a cop?
No, he's retired, but he's living on the lake, living the high life.
Oh, of course.
Probably got about 20 guns from the inventory.
I wonder. Oh, that's interesting. So, you know, Beth, I feel like, though, you're holding back.
Well, I am a little bit because I don't want to cause anybody any trouble. I just want to live my life and sell my book. I just want people to know my story. I think you're
Fuck you. Go fuck yourself, Beth. Fuck
what?
you. Fuck
What?
you. Let me tell you something, honey. Let me tell you something. You owe the people of this city. You owe them. Fuck your book. This is going to sell your book, but I don't give a fuck about your book.
Okay.
Fuck you. Don't you ever say that to me again. This isn't for a fucking video. This isn't for a fucking book. This is for justice. What the hell's the matter with you? You owe. You owe. And if you make money from that book, half of the proceeds should go to the people of this fucking town. Don't you ever tell me this is about selling your book.
The people of this town elected me after I got fired to be on city council.
You, my friend, were living a double life. You were living a double life as trying to be a good person and watching all the corruption, and now you won't admit to it. So just
I'm admitting
fucking,
to it.
Then tell the truth. You're holding back. You know stories of where these guys have.
It was 14 years of drama. I've got it all.
I want to hear about police who killed people that you know, and you're not telling me.
I can tell
you
right
know
now,
it.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't.
You know
I
people,
do not know.
Okay, because you were on the outside. They wouldn't have told you, Beth.
Right.
You're right. They would have kept a secret from Beth. Beth could never know that they jumped somebody. What else do you know about cops who beat the shit out of people while they were in handcuffs? Don't tell me you got one story, Beth. You got 20, so tell them.
I'm trying to think, okay?
You don't
Please
have to
be
think.
a little bit more patient with me.
I know. Just this isn't, honey. Forgive me, okay? I'm not just playing a game here. I care about you as a person, as a human being, and for the love of God, I will repent with you, and say that I'm sorry to God for the atrocities I've done against other people, even beating people up before I was 25 years old, beating people up on the street and they didn't know how to fight, and I knew MMA. I feel bad.
I've never, ever beaten anybody. I've never touched anybody. And
I believe you, Beth, but you're protecting people.
I don't think I've ever had a single complaint on me except for excessive force.
Tell me who else you saw punch people
grabbing
in handcuffs.
some guy. Huh?
Tell me about someone else you saw get punched in the face when they were wearing handcuffs. Because those are the stories that haunt you because you kept quiet. And that's what I want to hear about. I didn't mean to yell at you. Sorry. I want to say I'm sorry. Several times we'd have, and this guy's correct. This guy's gonna, he'll kill me and not think twice about it. But Chris Bowman, he's retired, and he acted like he was my friend, but I heard what he said behind my back. And, then I told you I wore a wire, so I have those tapes. And, Shenanigans Bar on 3rd Street, 3rd and McGovney, I think. It's not there anymore. They tore it down. He had a flapjack. You know what that is, don't you? No, I don't.
It's a little black leather. It's got a strap on it for you to put your hand in, and it's a flapjack. You never heard of it?
I know exactly I know exactly what you're talking about now. I've seen it before.
Okay, well,
it's a leather padding with little leads in them over your fists and hands, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just you just keep it in your side pocket. Everybody had them, though. Everybody had them. I never used mine, but everybody had them. And we'd go in those bar fights at Shenanigans, and Chris Bowman would just hit people in the nose with it and knock them all down, and get everybody out there. There was always a black and white fight going on at Shenanigans. Howie Dick has owned it.
Howie who?
Howie Dickus owned it.
Howie Dickus. Mm-hmm.
He owned Shenanigans.
Wow. And so Chris Bowman was going and just be punching people in the noses, huh? Because you know, if the cops come, there's a bar fight.
I mean, you come in
right, but you don't have to do
try
that.
To arrest them. Right, you don't have to punch them in the face.
No, you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to happen. You know, I mean, I stopped a fight today, and I didn't have to punch anybody in the nose to do that.
Yeah.
The other people who broke up the fight didn't. The pre-fight or the puffiness that they were doing, no one had to punch anybody else.
You talking about Mr. Blankenship?
I'm talking about at the Taco Bell today when some guy named
Chad Goo.
I talked to Goo, the cop, Goo.
Yeah, I worked with him. He hated me. You know, I'd go on calls and they didn't want you to have to bother them. They wanted to sit at the station all the time, and I was new and I wanted to do my job. You know, I was all excited about it. I was gung ho and all ready to do it, and just, you know, I was pressed and creased and had the shiny shoes and you know, I mean, I made sure I looked the part and I acted the part, and I was yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am to people I arrested. And I apologized to him when I took him to jail. I said, "Good luck in court." And that's probably on some tapes from back when. That could be proven. Or you can ask people you can ask TJ Lyons.
Hold on. But, right, I understand that, Beth. But you went on about Goo because what did you see Goo do? Goo do? What a goober. Because Goo said that today on video, on camera today, he literally said that it's the best group of men and women ever, and he said he's a constitutionalist too. He wouldn't violate someone's Bill of Rights. So is that true?
He didn't what?
He said he would never violate someone's civil liberties.
Oh, yeah, I've witnessed that. I'm not going to say what, but I've witnessed him violate civil liberties.
Bill, no, Beth, please tell me what Mr. Goo did. I said I was sorry for yelling at you last time. I think we're on the record, Beth. This comes to an end now, and you're going to be the leader, and I'm going to back you up, and we're going to get rid of Goo too. He told an audience of 10,000 people today that he would never violate someone's rights. Is that true?
No.
What did he do?
Well, he was kind of dumpy and heavy when he first got hired. And I don't know when the date is, but I have it down in my totes. You can come tomorrow and get all my stuff. I don't care if you take it all.
Well, we're gonna get it digitized and just sent to LA, so that way it's done. You see what I'm saying? Because once it's with my partners, it's you know, then if anything happens to you or me, then we know exactly who did it.
Well, I still have a bulletproof vest and a gun, so.
But you didn't tell me you didn't tell me about Goo's beating people in handcuffs, and you're about to tell me that, I think.
I just seen him hit some guy in the back of the neck one time to get him in the cruiser. Instead of taking his hand and putting it on his head and tucking him in, he hit him in the back of the neck and threw him in the car.
With a fist?
That was at Pick and Save up on Ironton Hills Drive.
Was he wearing one of those gloves?
I don't know. I don't think he had any gloves on, no.
Punched him in the back of the neck?
Yeah.
What happened to the guy after he punched him in the back of the neck?
He put him in the car and took him to jail.
But the guy was in handcuffs.
Right.
And he resisted Goo?
No, I didn't see him resist. He arrested him. He was putting him in the back of the cruiser. And instead of putting his hand on top of his head and saying, "Sir, get in the back seat, watch your head," right. Yes, which is what I always did. You could ask anybody I've pulled over. And he hit him in the back of the neck and knocked him in the car.
And the guy was imagine if a full-grown man as big as Goo punches you in the back of the neck. Guy turns into putty, so now he's just a pile of shit in the back of the car.
But there's nobody I can go to because I've already been to Ron Kettle, and he said, I know what's going on, don't rock the boat. The chief knows what's going on, don't rock the boat.
You're a whistleblower, Beth. You're a whistleblower. You're not going to be tried for this. You're a whistleblower.
My case is already settled out of court. They've already paid me. And so what do I do now? I mean, am I allowed to tell my story? It's public record.
100%. But Goo punching people in the back of the neck. Tell me about what else Goo did. And don't sugarcoat it anymore, Beth. The cat's out. Just tell me. Just say it. What else? How many people? No, how about this? How many people did Goo abuse? Can you count them all on two hands?
From people calling me and complaining, yes, I could say you can count them on two hands.
10 times? People called and complained about Goo?
People still call me. TJ called me.
I know, but I need more specific examples of abuse. Because the guy that got punched in the back of the neck could still be alive. And we could find out from him, and that's a civil rights violation.
Right.
This is systemic, and it's constant. And you're not telling me everything.
Well, honey, let me tell you something. I'm not holding back anything.
Tell me what else you did. Tell me what else.
14 years
I know that.
and it's all documented. I can't remember all of it.
I know, Beth. I know. But this has to come to an end. And the only way it happens is if we actually give specific examples of where Goo did what he did and where your other bike friends and your did what they did, especially people who are still in the force. Listen to me. People think that
I didn't tell you the bike thing. The reason I wrecked was somebody cut my spoke with a utility knife, and the chief of police. I have no idea, but only 5 people went to bicycle school, and they said that if you have a broken spoke, you can wreck going at a high mile an hour. We go 30 mile an hour on them bikes, and they're 17 speeds. They were like $1,000 a piece. I mean. Back then, that was May of '98, and
wow,
so
they did that to you. So you could have. I mean, you could die, right?
No, well, yeah. So
you're going 30 miles an hour on a bike.
No, you know what they did? They had Detective Jimmy Sargent, and he's a big wig at AT&T now. But they had him. He was on.
Jimmy Sargent's a big wig at AT&T.
That's what I think, yeah. And
he went from being a cop. But wait a minute, Jimmy Sargent, did he have a degree in communications or in electronics or?
No, he was a detective in the Jack Bulgaris case where they killed their daughter.
Okay, but what? How is he a bigwig at AT&T? I don't understand what his qualifications are.
Well, he's like their detective. He's like their detective for the company.
Oh, and okay. And what did Jimmy do?
God, this is hard.
Well, and I've
never seen Jimmy hurt anybody, and
I don't believe you.
Well, I really haven't.
Don't lie
now,
to me, Beth. No, come on, Beth. Don't lie to me. Don't lie. Listen to me. I've put myself out here. Okay.
I know.
I'm way out. I'm alone. I'm alone here. There's nobody here but me and my gun. And there's a bunch of people, cops, who hate me. They want to kill me.
Well, they hate me too.
Well, then, goddamn it, Beth. Tell the fucking truth. Stop lying to me. You are lying to me by not telling me, and we both know that you have memories that haunt you. So stop it. Just tell the fucking truth. What did Jimmy do?
I just said he was the detective when...
What did he do? What did he do? What did he do? Who did he hurt? You're not.
He didn't hurt anybody. He couldn't hurt nobody. He's so little.
So you never saw Jimmy. Why'd you bring Jimmy up then?
I brought Jimmy up because he was the detective during that Jack Valgaris case where he killed his daughter and buried her in the backyard. It was all over TV in the national news. And I just was telling you that, who was working with me back then. After Ron Kettle found out that I had a wire on, he moved to the fire department, and I think he retired.
Ron Kettle was the mayor at the time, or no? He was the president of the chiefs union, a police union.
He was the union representative. My union.
He was the union. And you had told Ron Kettle about all these things about the corruption. You know, you're not telling me a lot, but
I've got it on tape. Him saying the chief knows what's going on because I was getting harassed by Bill Garland and Grover Carter, and he said chief knows what's going on. Don't rock the boat. And I've got that on tape.
Who's Bill Garland and Grover Carter?
They were the older men when I first got hired, and they didn't want no women there.
Cops? They were the older cops?
Yeah. And
okay. So they didn't want
Carter,
you.
There was public policy, police policy, where you couldn't smoke inside the cruisers because you had to share them with each other. And I have asthma, and I shared a cruiser with Grover, and he would make sure that ashtray had 30 or 40 cigarettes in it. And I'd have to work 8 hours all day long, couldn't breathe. And
I got that.
That's just little stuff. Then when I was on bike patrol, they told me to go around and get all the for sale signs and all the signs off all the telephone poles in the city. Now, do you realize how long that took me? 8 hours.
To take all the what?
They told me to ride my bike. They wouldn't let me work the road. They told me to ride my bike and take off every yard sale sign on any telephone pole, and they was going to check it. And if I didn't get them all, I'd be reprimanded. Yes, I'd be reprimanded. And so I spent 8 hours doing that. And I could have been helping somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so who is on the force now that you also see? Because these young kids you're not going to know, obviously, the Blankenship.
No, I don't know. I just heard rumors about McKnight, and I've heard rumors about the Blankenships, but I don't know them people. So, I was on city council, but I never was introduced to them. I see them come in and out, but it's just hard to remember everything right at this moment. But I can meet you tomorrow and
but who else, Beth? That's while I got you on the phone. It's my accusation from talking to hundreds of people in this town that this department has been corrupt and is corrupt and has been for a very, very long time. And so what I want to know from you, tell me, I need to know more places of abuse and corruption besides just stealing from the locker room. And you can just really, that garbage man who retired and took all the stuff, you know, but where else? Who else abused people that you saw them abuse people? Because that's the whole point is that the idea that they put you in cuffs for your safety. I guess if they totally incapacitate you, then abuse is going to come. And that's what I've been saying for years and years. It happened to me a lot. So
well,
now,
when I was working, nobody that I worked with beat up on anybody except Rich Atkins and Goo and
you only told me one story of Goo.
And Chris Bowman.
And Chris Bowman. Yeah, Bowman's violent. You told me how violent he was, but you only told me one story about Goo. And
he'll kill me. He'll kill me.
What?
I mean, I'm telling you that they cut a cat when I filed the lawsuit. They cut a cat from its throat down to its privates and threw it over the fence in my backyard, and then comments the next day at work they said dead pussy, and I had a Rottweiler back there at the time, and I know he didn't do it because he didn't go near it. It was dead already.
So, Beth.
What?
Everybody's going to already hear this. Everybody's going to hear this. Everybody's going to hear this. I mean, what are you talking about? Then just tell me more. I want to know. You think Goo is going to kill you? Well, now you know what? If anything happens to you, we know it was Goo. If Goo wants to throw his life away because he's so angry he has to kill you, everybody's going to know he did it. So, or you know what? Someone doesn't want to kill you, they can set up Goo. Maybe he can be the fall guy.
I'm not trying to set up anybody.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just trying to tell my experience.
I'm joking, right? I'm
just telling you my experience.
But how many other times did Goo abuse people? What was the most vicious time you saw him besides the punch in the back of the neck?
That's about the most vicious thing I've seen him do, honestly.
And the rest was just, but he said he doesn't violate people's civil rights. And there's only, just so you know, Beth, people who snap and punch people in the back of the...
He would get the warrant list and go down the list and just go to people's houses and arrest them. And a warrant list is there for us to know who has warrants, and we're supposed to look over that list every day. And I'm sure they still do that. But
not him though.
He would look over the warrant list and just go and arrest people.
Because he gets to put them in handcuffs and torture cuffs. And people, just so you know, people who are impulsive and lose their temper and choke a dog or punch people in the back of the neck, typically that's their behavior. Always. Very seldom does someone just snap and punch a guy in the back of the neck. So that means that's what he did. It's chronic. It's not one time. It's what you call pathological. So you saw him do it more than once. Why won't you just tell me?
I really can't. I'd have to look at my journals. I'd have to look at them, and you're welcome to have them.
I'm going to get them tomorrow before this publishes. I'm going to get these tomorrow before they publish so that we can make sure that we're protected. Because if you think Goo will kill you because you told one story about him punching someone in the back of the neck, I wonder how many other stories there are. Because, Beth, we both know you're not telling me everything. Because you're afraid.
I know. I'll get my
you're scared. You're scared. You're scared. I'm sorry. I don't realize sometimes how much fear actually paralyzes people, because I have anger. I don't have the fear thing. I got a gun. If I got to have a shootout with someone, well, I'll have a shootout with you. you might get me, but I'm not going down. Right. So, but what I'm saying is I'm what you call indignant. In other words, I'm upset about my treatment, and rightfully so. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the tapes. We'll listen to them. They're on 8-track tapes, or they're on
no, they're on those little tiny Memorex little. I have the tape player wrapped around my ankle with duct tape, and I did that to cover myself in case I got threatened again while I was working, because they used to say smart things to me all the time, and I wanted to get them on tape for my attorney, and so I had to protect myself. I had to wear a wire. I mean, I got you. I had to.
I got you.
And my friends knew I wore one. I told them. I said, if anything happens to me, you tell them I had a wire on.
Yeah. I have so many mixed emotions about this, Beth, because I care about you as a person and what happened to you, and then I'm mad that you didn't speak up about the corruption and the abuse, and then at the same time, I know this is systemic, so I know that those tapes and the wire are going to have all kinds of things on it that we didn't even discuss here yet, and that's going to be the most damaging evidence against this department. And by the way, this could be called Anywhere Town USA. A woman who's a lesbian, who's more athletic than they are, because you're an all-state and all-American basketball player, they must have been so jealous of you and not understood you because you're a woman and you're gay and you're going in right in the 2000 right there. That's when gays finally, not even really, I think 2004 is Ogilvy versus, what is it, 2004 or 2014?
I don't know.
Ogilvy, that legalized gay marriage.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not married. I stay to myself. I'm a loner. And, I've been in therapy for years over this stuff, and you can have I'll give you my doctor's name and privately, and my therapist's name privately, and you can have access to whatever you want.
I want access to I'm sorry, I'm saying it's Oberfell. It's 2015. I'm way off. So you didn't even have legal gay marriage. What I'm trying to talk about is the way the culture is going to be. So if we're going to get legalized gay marriage in 2015 in the Oglesby's versus Oglesfell, Oberfell versus Hodges, I'm saying it wrong still, but in the 2015 case. So if it's legalized then, if you go back 20 years to 1995, 96 you joined, and you're a lesbian, they are going to, in this little kind of dog shit place, they're going to be so discriminatory against you. Remember, back then, people are still saying fag and nigga with the hard R, and that's what's going on back then.
Right.
It's very normal.
Exactly what it was. And,
yeah.
I always keep my car clean, and I had pride in what I did. And I tried to help people. And I got reprimanded for saving a cat out of a sewer. I got reprimanded for saving a dog. And I'm not supposed to waste resources on animals. There's an animal warden for that.
How many officers did you see shoot dogs, or how many dogs were shot by cops?
I've never seen any dogs be shot by any cops.
Oh, really? In your whole career? I'm going to look.
Yeah. I know about some shootings. I know a lot about some things, but I don't.
Like what? That's what I'm asking you.
See, there's no sense in distorting my voice because everybody knows it's me.
I told you from the beginning of this conversation, Beth, this is public. I'm going to take all your tapes and all your journals, and I'm going to send them to Los Angeles to my partner, and he's going to digitize.
You're not going to put them on YouTube, though, are you?
Yes. We're going to digitize all those tapes, Beth, and you're going to tell the truth. You're going to tell the truth. Enough is enough, Beth. This police system does not work. It does not work giving police autonomy over themselves. It doesn't work. And it's time that you lead. You want to be a cop so that you can actually be an authority. But at the same time, while you were a cop, when you had to arrest people because of the way the system is, you said you were sorry. Okay, I understand that you're an empathetic person, but you still want to be an authority. Then
no, I don't.
Then why would you sign up to be a pig? Why would you sign up to be a pig if you didn't want to be an authority? If you didn't want to be in charge of other people, why did you sign up to be a cop?
It was just always my dream. It was just always my dream to be a cop. I checked into it when I was 21, and I didn't go through the academy till I was 32. And so that's that. It was just always my dream. I watched Charlie's Angels when I was a little girl. What can I say? And I had long blonde hair. So,
Hey, listen, I saw Chuck Norris when I was a kid, and then I learned how to fight the best I could when I grew up.
Right.
Now, I found out being a ninja is not the best way. Having the basic staple of wrestling is the number one thing. So,
right.
So, all right. I feel like I've drug enough out of you, but you still haven't told me anything about anybody else besides Goo, and that he punched him in the back of the neck once. But are you going to tell me about anybody else that actually did something that you can say something about here?
No, I think I've said enough. But I'll look through my stuff right now, and
you need to get all those mini tapes ready. I'm going to come over there tomorrow, pick them up, and we're going to send them off to a production company in LA that's going to digitize them so that they're in electronical form. And then you have those tapes forever and ever. And then you can really press a lawsuit. Because while I detest what you signed up for, it sounds like you're empathetic. And when I unveil the new policing system, I think there's an opportunity for you to get back in authority, but in a way that's positive and constructive. The new transparency system that I designed, it's going to change the world. Because I'm going to show how corrupt this place is, and that police cannot at all whatsoever police themselves. Can't do it. And even now, Beth, you're afraid to tell the truth because you're afraid they'll kill you. You said they'll kill you. You only told about one of the but just so you know, Goo looked at me and swore up and down he would never violate someone's constitutional rights. He's a constitutionalist too. That's what he said to me. He's punching people in the back of the neck. He's punching people in the back of the neck, and you're not telling me about the other stories, Beth. You're not telling me.
Well, I promise you I will tomorrow. I'll look through all my stuff and see what I can't remember, what I put in the back of my mind, because I've had 2 heart attacks, and I've been through it with the police department, and so that's why now I understand why you're here, and I think it's great, but people think that I'm the one that got a hold of you to come here, and I didn't.
You did not. What are you talking about? I publicized that it was Sarah Page. Sarah Page has admitted it. She's the one that contacted me and said, "Here, I'm going through hell. Look at this tape." I took one look at it and said, "That's horrific." Then she called me and said, "I've been pulled over twice within a week. One time for a blinker, one time when she was parked. Or the wrong color car."
I've seen the videos, yeah.
And I said, "I'll be right there." I dropped everything and came up.
The wrong color car is the DMV's fault.
No. I don't even want to get into it, because the wrong thing is pigs running your license plate so they could maybe possibly arrest you. That's disgusting.
Right. Okay.
That's disgusting. And I don't give a damn what that bum Jeff Lawless says. He's a bum. And you know what? Listen. You had strength at one time. You had confidence at one time. You're not a badass basketball player because you didn't believe you could cut the lane. You're badass because you knew you could cut the lane. And so you're going to have to find your confidence again. And you're going to have to be strong, because we're going public, and we're going to end this corruption here. This corruption is going to be washed out. It's going to be washed out. Don't be afraid. Get your gun. Someone comes around, blow their freaking head off if you have to.
Well, can I tell you a story real quick?
Sure, I'll listen.
Kevin Waldo, who's a judge now, who you talked about on there, he was sitting next to me on city council. I don't know what year it was, but it's on. They had an article in the Ironton Tribune about it. He had a heart attack, and I did CPR and saved his life. And right there in the floor until the EMS people got there. And, you know, you think somebody would say, "Thank you." You know what I mean?
You saved Kevin Waldo's life?
Yes, in the city council chambers. You can talk to Craig Harvey.
It's so hard to believe here. Wait a second. So Kevin Waldo had a heart attack, and you gave him chest compressions and brought him back to life.
Saved his life, yes.
Air breaths?
Aaron Bollinger was doing the breath. He was on city council. He was also a deputy. Okay.
And you give Kevin Waldo CPR, bring him back, get his heart pumping again. Do you have to use electronic shock? What do they call it?
No, when the paramedics got there, they did, and then, it was pretty crazy. But it was in the paper, so you could probably track it down.
And then, of course, on the surface, remember, Goo seemed like the nicest guy in the world to me. He said he's a constitutionalist too. So Goo has no background, and he's not a state champion wrestler. He didn't compete in.
No, like I said before, and when he came there, he was all kind of dumpy, and then him and I'm just being straightforward, because I was I was in shape of my life right then when I was riding that bike. I was riding 25, 30 miles a day. But they was all working out and taking steroids. And
listen, you can take all the juice you want. I'm sorry. Can I tell you why I'm laughing?
Right.
Because he said he would get into the cage with me for a charity event.
Yeah.
He's not a wrestler, and he didn't spend 20 years on the mat. Has he been through any kind of jiu-jitsu training?
I honestly don't know even where he's from. I don't even
you
know
can
where
be
he's
as strong
from.
as he. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. You ever heard of that?
The Dunning what? I'm writing this down.
The Dunning-Kruger effect. So when people watch the UFC and then they lift weights and they burn real hard, right, and lifting hard and they're getting stronger, maybe getting bigger muscles, maybe losing their fat, whatever. They watch the UFC and they watch these guys fight, and then they start to maybe they take a class or two, and then they start to believe that they're the same guy, that they're as tough as Conor McGregor, that they're as tough as Gable Steveson, and so this guy said he would maybe get into the ring with me for charity, but he has absolutely no idea what he's doing and no training. That's just incredible to me. That's incredible.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not going to say because people will hear this, but so if people are hearing this, listen, you don't know how to fight because you watched UFC and you're strong and you lift weights. Okay, I'll give you an example. Just because I think that I could beat you in basketball does not mean I could beat you in basketball. No matter how much I believe it, doesn't mean I'm going to beat you. You're going to be at Alligator. No, you're going to be at Alligator, and I'm going to be trying to get the letter A on you. It's not even a game of horse. It's a game of Alligator, and I can't score one letter. So it's like, it's just preposterous. Oh man, that goo! I can't wait to hear the real stories you're going to tell me, or that we're going to find on those tapes, because you have a bunch of corruption on those tapes.
I have about 8 or 9 of those little tapes, and like I said, it's probably from 2004, 2005, maybe 2006, 7.
I would hide those tapes. I would hide them until you see me tomorrow.
They're in a lockbox. In a lockbox.
Well, don't tell me over the phone where they are, but just keep it between you and me.
They're not here at my house. They're in a lockbox.
We'll go get them tomorrow, and we'll meet up and go get them, and then I'll ship them immediately to LA FedEx. Yep, and we'll get this done. Okay, Beth. Hey, listen, be strong. We're not going to release this video until the tapes are out of town. So nothing's going up yet.
I appreciate that.
Nothing's going up because we're going to take a video of us shipping the tapes off. So you see what I'm saying?
Oh, you are going to?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to let people know as I'm mailing something off, and you'll be right with me on camera, and we're going to say, they're gone. Tapes are gone. And now the video's coming out, and we're going to let them know. You're going to have to get tougher, Beth.
I'll try.
You're going to have to face this and not be afraid, because these guys are cowards, and transparency has arrived. There's a new date. It's called transparency. It's a new time.
I know.
Everybody sees everything now. Everybody sees everything now. Everybody sees everything. So that's the new transparency, and education is the new system, and I'm going to lay it out. It is beautiful the way this works. This ends all car chases. This ends all violence. You ever remember see the movie Demolition Man?
Yes.
It becomes that kind of, there's no more attacking anybody because you're on camera. If you're going to lose your cool and punch somebody, you're done, dude. The judge, the public, everybody's going to see it. You don't be stupid. Why do you want to ruin your life? Right? But the difference is now that instead of going to a dungeon, you go to one of these. I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying anything else. But I can't wait to lay it out. It's so beautiful, Beth. It's so beautiful. Listen, you got to get stronger. You're going to have to be strong, especially when this video comes out. You have to be strong. I'm going to be right here.
You just got to prepare me.
Do you have cameras at your house? Do you have cameras?
No, I don't have any cameras at my house. I just got my phone, and like I said, I mean, I about lost everything I had when I lost my job, and then I got a job detailing cars down on 2nd and Elm Street, and the cops would go by and toot their horn and laugh at me because I was working as detailing cars instead of being a cop again, because they fired me after I'd won arbitration. So I've been through pretty much a lot with them, and it's just meant to be that I didn't run for city council again this year, because now I can speak freely and tell my story.
And, you know, the city councilman that you told your story to that you said, your friend, what was his name again?
My friend Bob Clary.
So the guy who you went to, who was the mayor or the city council member at the time? Is that him, Bob Clary?
He was the mayor at the time, and he told me to keep in touch with him, and I told him everything that happened, and he tried to help me.
Right.
And,
he tried to help you, right.
I've known him for 30 years.
Now let me give you some perspective from
Okay.
an objective point of view. Who did he help out?
He did. I mean, he did it.
No. Answer the question. Who did he truly help out?
I don't see how he could help himself by trying to help me.
Who did he help the absolute most after you told your story to him, how much corruption and abuse was going on? And who did he help the most?
I didn't tell him about the corruption. All I told him about was the sexual harassment.
Okay, and still, whether it was just the corruption or just the sexual harassment, who did he help the most?
He just sent a memo.
Who did he help the most?
Sent a memo to the officers.
Fuck his memo. Okay, who did he help the most? Who did he help the most?
I have no idea.
Answer the question. You know who he helped the cops the most who abused you. He did nothing.
You think that?
I'm over here. I'm actually objective. I'm standing back from 50,000 feet.
But
I'm saying you're the subject. Well, because you're incorrect. You're the subject of the situation. You are the subject of.
You know Bob and my relationship. He's always
I don't
been
give
there for me.
Why didn't Bob blow the whistle, fire the cops? Why didn't Bob walk down to the Ironton Tribune and say, tomorrow's headline is that I fired these cops because they sexually harassed a lesbian woman? Why didn't that get done? So who did he help the most, Beth? You still have cop perspective. It's so warped. Who did he help the most, Beth?
Wow.
Who did he help the most? Tell the truth. Be honest with yourself and be honest with me. And be honest with all the people listening to this. Who did he help the most?
I'm not sure what you're trying to get out of me, honey.
I'm trying to tell you he helped the people who abused you the most. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. The abuse stayed the same for you. You already told me that. It never ended. So who did he help out then? You went and told him everything. I'm sure you cried.
Well, at the time I did. At the time I thought a memo was
a memo?
thing to do.
A memo?
At least telling him something to quit, leave me alone or something.
Did that happen? Know? Did that happen?
No.
Okay, so who did he help the most? The bad actors who were abusing you. Because nothing happened. He did really essentially nothing. He sent a fucking memo. If you were my sister, and you told me that your spouse or another person abused you, what do you think I'd do? Do you think that I would send a memo? If you were my sister, now you've watched 20 hours of my content. Do you think if you came to me and said, this person is abusing me, and you were my sister, what do you think I'd do? Think I'd send a memo?
No.
What do you think I would do? What do you think Chille would do?
I think Chille would probably go downstairs and set it straight.
Oh, yeah. Do you think I'd try to hide it from the public?
No.
You think I'd march right into the Tribune and tell him my sister's being sexually harassed? This is the piece of shit as I drug him by the back of his neck into the paper?
Wow.
So who did he help the most, Beth? He's your friend, though, right?
Yes, he's my friend, and he's been good to me.
Bullshit. There's always the good cop as you're being shackled like a pig and you're being put into a claustrophobic little slide closet where your feet don't fit. There's always that one cop like you going, I'm really sorry it's happening to you. I'm really sorry it's happening to you. But I feel, and then you go down to the jail, and there's that sweet cop. Oh, man, I'm really sorry. And the people who are planted inside of a box, they don't realize that cop is just like the rest. He's not protesting to your treatment. He's not putting his foot down and taking a stand against the bullshit system that doesn't work. Who did he help the most, Beth? Get there. Get there. Get there. Who did he help the most?
I guess them.
What would be my actions, Beth? You're my sister? Look, well, let me just tell you what my actions were. When my sister called me and told me that her husband had choked her, I said, I'll be there. It says 20 minutes. I'll be there in 15. No, I'm sorry. It was 45 minutes. She lived across Lake Oswego or something like that. I brought the 190-pounder from my wrestling team, and I was in a full sprint into the house. When he full sprinted out the back door, he ran as fast as he could. A buddy picked him up in a pickup truck, and he sped off. I never saw him again. He said, wow. My sister told me that he had choked her. I was at a full sprint. If I could have caught that garbage man, I'm sorry, that garbage person.
Well,
so if you came to me and you told me that people were treating you bad and abusing you, now compare what I would do compared to what that mayor did for you. He placated you. He pretended like he was your friend. Well, he wasn't the only mayor
that dealt with it.
He pretended like he was your friend, like he couldn't do anything.
He wasn't the mayor that fired me.
He was the man in power at the time. He had the con. He was in control. He did shit for you. He shit all over you. And that's just like every single person in this system, because there's no checks and balances. Why isn't there oversight on city councilmen and mayors? A third party, independent citizen party that it's so detail oriented. I can't even give it the proper titling, but I've already created it. That's the point. I've created a new way called transparency. Changes everything. All these corrupt politicians are going to be gone with transparency. Gone. And that's what I'm talking about. And you, planted inside the box you were in, you thought that guy was being your friend. Now, pretend he's your brother. Pretend that I'm your brother. I mean, come on. I walked you down the road. Remember, I'm not mad at you about this. I'm trying to open your eyes here. I'm trying to show you.
Well, there's no reason for you to be mad at me. I'm just trying to tell my story.
What I'm trying to say is I'm an aggressive person. Well, you're not there yet, but you're getting there. You're afraid. Fear is paralyzing you, and that's not your fault. But what I'm trying to say is I'm an aggressive person, and I'm not saying that the story that I'm saying is that you're bad. I'm saying that this guy, you need to open your eyes. He's not your friend. Even if you had a nice personal kind of relationship with him, he may have listened to you cry and all those things. But at the end of the day, Beth, he didn't do anything for you. He actually enabled those abusers. And if you enable someone else and you disable me, then they advantage and I'm at disadvantage. It's very simple. You didn't get anything. They got promoted. How do you not see it? So anyway.
Right.
I just want to show you the truth of what and the reason why you should pull the brakes off of your disclosures. Start to reveal who these people are. And
I just don't want to relive it again. I don't want to go through it again. I just, but it's too late now.
Yeah. You're going to get blowed up, man. People are going to call you off the hook. People are going to call you and tell you they're going to kill you and that you should be afraid and all this stuff. But we know where to look if that happens. If you're willing to lose your life and throw yourself into the dungeon system of America because you're so mad at Beth and you got to change careers, well, you know what? Then you can't stop that. You can't stop a madman from killing you. You never will be able to do that unless you have a gun and you defend yourself. And that's why all gun laws are bullshit. But, just so you know, I'm sitting here right now. My gun's right next to me.
Okay. Where are you staying at? Can you tell me that?
Hear that? That is safety, right there.
Yeah, well, I hear it.
I'm locked. I'm locked and loaded, and I sleep like a feather. You even bristle, and I hear it, and I move.
Me too.
And it takes this long, and I fire. So you just, don't be afraid, but don't be stupid. Arm yourself, because they're going to be pissed. And this whole town, even though we haven't revealed a lot here, we've revealed enough that this whole town is going to go, what else does she know? And what is on those tapes that they sent off to Los Angeles?
Right. I don't know what's on them tapes. I just know there's about 9 of them. And
how many hours are on each tape?
I think 1.5 hours.
Mhm. And so you would wear the wire when you thought that you were walking into a bad situation?
Yeah, I wore the wire at work so I could tape them threatening me.
And then on those days where you thought that they were threatening you, did they go ahead and follow through and threaten you?
Oh, yeah, they threatened me several times. I went to Buckeye Monument with Gary Brown. He was my sergeant at the time. And Buckeye Monument, cemetery monument place right across from the Auger on 3rd Street. And he said I could kill. We were searching. They have a laser system in there, and it was probably a rat. But they said somebody broke in. So I was walking in front of him. He goes, I could shoot and kill you right now. And I said, well, I have a weapon too. And that was an officer that I trusted, and he said that in the dark while we were going through Buckeye Monument. And so that's when I started wearing a wire after that couple threats I had.
Wow.
But I'll go through my notes and my journals, and you can have them all.
I want to. This is first up. This is the first step. We're letting them know that transparency has arrived, and that and we're going to get you some cameras for your place. And you have a dash cam in your car, front back dash cam?
No, I don't. I have an old van. I'll be 60 next month. I don't care what kind of car I drive.
Do you have a cigarette adapter in that van?
I'm not sure. I don't smoke, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna
get you a front and back dash cam and get you a camera for your house, and we'll just do it right there live, and I'll just bring in the funds and we'll just do it. So, okay.
You do it live?
We have no choice, Beth. We have to protect ourselves. The only thing that is your protection in today's world is the camera. I mean, I got this gun in case someone starts shooting, but I'm going to start rolling film right away. I'm going to start rolling right away. So, it's just the way it is. You got to roll camera all times. All times.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Mr. Rick Robinson that you had an altercation with lives right next door to me.
Who's Rick Robinson?
Mr. Robinson that you called a chump.
Oh, the short little guy who grabbed me, the old guy who weighs 120 pounds?
I don't know how much he weighs, but he's my neighbor, and I grew up with him. So I just wanted to warn you about that. If you come here, he'll probably come out here.
Come out here and do what?
Come
out and do what?
Want to know what's going on or something. I don't know.
And you tell him to go back into his household, man. Mind his own fucking business. That's what you do. Fuck him. He's not your daddy. Beth, you're about to blow the lid off this bullshit town. And when those tapes are digitized and we get them back, you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand.
So I opened a can of worms, didn't I?
It's just the time, and I know that I don't have a very good bedside manner. I'm not, I mean, number one, you're an ex-pig. So, it's like, I detest pigs. So it's tough to, but at the same time, you're a person and you're worth loving and respecting and you're a child of God. So I'm trying, but then when you won't reveal the things, it's like you owe, and you're going to have a great book and all that stuff, but that's not what this is about. And that's, contrary to what everybody says, that I'm a narcissist. Your book's going to be incredible, but more than that, because it's going to come from, words you can read that you get to digest. But what I'm saying is like this isn't, people call me a narcissist and I need likes and views and all that. I don't give a flying fuck. We have to change this system. This cannot live past Gen X. The prisons need to be shut down before I go. There's no need to incarcerate people like this. These pigs putting people's faces on Facebook and saying, I arrested this 21-year-old Jamal Anderson, and they shame black guys constantly by putting their picture on Facebook, and we arrested this guy for armed robbery or for this or that. You're talking about a guy who's illiterate.
Yeah.
And they celebrate how they get criminals and the guy with the big hunk of metal on his chest and a gun. Do you know the new system? There's no weapon showing on the transparency. There's no
really?
weapon showing on. No weapons. You don't need a weapon. You push a button and certain weapons arrive. Certain tactics arrive. I created a whole new system based 100% on transparency with a third-party agency co-opting the responsibilities of transparency. You notice what I'm not saying? Policing. We don't need to be policed. We need transparency. Absolute and total transparency. And then we need to award people who don't violate people's civil rights because you can see everything that happens at all times. Once transparency arrives, the people there get to decide. The judge is watching. No matter how mad you are, you sure you want to keep throwing punches? There's literally the guy with the glasses on, with the silver rim glasses, go all the way around your head. There's 6 cameras on there pointing in 6 different directions, high, low, everywhere. He's not going to touch you. He's going to ask everybody to please settle down. And if you want to keep throwing punches or anything like that, he's going to push a button. The hands team is going to arrive, and those guys are going to show up, and they're going to physically put blockers between you and the victim. If you're the violent thug, if you're beating your wife, we're not going to attack you. We're going to block you from the victim by putting blockers between you and the victim. It's not our job to fight you. And then we tell you, as we hold you back with there's so many ways to do people. This is all wrong. All wrong.
Well, I know, but that's what they teach at the academy is how to fight people and how to detain people. And I mean,
they teach beta males how to detain alpha males, because the bitch ass cops in America, there's very few alpha males who want to treat people the way people are treated. Those guys are just sadists. If you want to put torture cuffs on people, you're a sadist. You're an absolute sadist. If you want to put handcuffs on a human being, you're fucked. You're a prick. Because it only takes 5 minutes before they say, oh man, my wrist really hurt. How could you listen to someone say that and be like, sorry, policy, you got a camera on them. Can you say, hey, look in my camera? Okay, look in there. Look at your face.
Right.
I see. Now, do you agree to not attack me and just come with me like a gentleman? Yes, I do. Okay. Let me take those cuffs off. Get in the front seat.
Right.
Come on, dude. Especially after the fight's over and you're going through remorse, like I shouldn't have punched that guy and I wish I hadn't done that. I made a mistake here. I hit my wife. I hit my kid. Whatever you did, right, as an aggressive man who couldn't control his temper. Because those are the only people who should be taken away. No one else should be taken away. Right? The only way you should be taken away and separated from family or friends is if you are hurting people. And transparency showed up and you wouldn't calm down. That's the only reason you should be taken away from family and friends and kidnapped from the streets. Not because you jaywalked and the cop didn't like what you said in return. Transparency changes everything. Changes America. This new police system that I designed, this is truly my legacy. This is what I'm going to leave behind for humanity. That is so simple, but needs to be implemented in a proper way. It's a game changer, what I've written. It is a game changer. So this is step one, though, Beth. My first step is to travel the country and show that police are corrupt deeply all through because there's no transparency, and that they're abusive, horrifically bad people, and that prisons and jails and the war on drugs doesn't work. And then I can run for governor of California and implement
There you go. Okay.
There's a plan here, and I don't mind revealing it to everybody because this is bullshit. The two parties are bullshit. It's not working. And you, my friend, I need you to toughen up, and when next time you need to read your journals tonight, and when I ask you questions on the phone, you need to tell the truth. You need to be transparent, Beth. Everybody's going to hear this.
I'm not told a lie.
No, I know that, but you haven't.
How I feel.
No, you held back, and you did lie. You lied. You lied to me, and that's okay. I'm okay with it.
No, I don't agree with that.
You did lie about Jimmy. Jimmy did something wrong, and at the end, after you thought about it, you decided you didn't want to reveal it. I heard you. You lied. You said you never saw him abuse anybody. You're lying. You're lying. And that's okay.
No,
you're lying.
I mean,
don't continue to lie. Admit it. You lied. No, just only
involved with taking weapons.
Jimmy was involved with taking weapons. The guy who works at AT&T.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Right. But you didn't talk about him abusing people.
No, I never seen him abuse anybody. He was the kind of guy who would say, "Can I get you a Mountain Dew and we'll talk?" And he could talk anybody into confessing.
Oh, I see. He just was a criminal when he actually stole things from people. Okay, I got it. I got it. Because Beth, by the way, I mean, nobody's perfect.
No.
Nobody's perfect. And I've done impulsive, stupid things that I really regret, and I wish I hadn't done them. But
I hope I don't regret this, because I hate to. I've worked for the city for 26 years, and I don't want to cause anybody any trouble, but I want to tell the truth, and that's the truth.
Well, you're gonna you literally are grabbing a hornet's nest and shaking it around as rough like a tiger trying to rip into meat, and then you're saying, "Well, I really hope no one gets infected from this."
Well, I'm sincere. Everybody knows me. Everybody, if you ask anybody, ask Tim about me.
I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about the cops who are all going to be pissed that they know that there's tapes coming out now. 10, 12, 14 hours of recorded tapes of the corruption, because I guarantee you on those tapes, we're going to find out people said and did things that were illegal.
Yeah.
Not just against you. The way they talk and the way they have no value on society and the public, the way they only care about themselves and, hey, whatever it takes for you to go home safe at the end of your shift. Isn't that their saying? Isn't that the true motto of police?
Yes.
And that's the thin blue line. Whatever it takes for you to go home safe at the end of your shift, taking into consideration that if you take anybody to Lawrence County Jail, they're going to be stacked up on top of bodies on top of bodies. But, hey, you know what? Whatever it takes for you to go home safe at the end of your shift.
Well, people are going to say this is retaliation on my part for losing my job.
What are you talking about? You gave me specific examples. We can find the guy who got punched in the back of the neck. Okay? We can listen to your tapes, and we can show the actual corruption.
Okay.
What are you talking about? And is the ex-mayor still alive?
The ex-mayor.
The guy who you thought was your friend, but really enabled your abuser.
He is my friend. I swear he is.
No, he's not. Bob Curry's not your friend. Wow. Okay.
He took up for me when nobody else did.
Oh, did it stop? Did he go public?
No.
Did he march? Did he?
No.
Was he the number?
Then after he got out of office, another mayor came in.
Was he the? No. When you told the number one guy in power about what was happening to you, did he go down to the Ironton Tribune, walk in the door, and say, "I got your morning's paper tomorrow"? Three Ironton police officers who'd been on the force for 20 years have been fired for sexual discrimination. Did he do that?
No.
What would be the right thing to do? Wouldn't that have been the right thing to do? You wore a wire because you were being so discriminated against. That's an extreme thing, Beth. That's extreme. So it must have been horrific.
It was.
You must have felt like an absolute nothing, right? They
talked to me like I was an animal.
That's how they treat us all.
James P. Carey was the chief, and he's the one that was the chief during the lawsuit in 2010. And he every time I'd come in, he'd say, "Here comes little Miss Top Cop." And because I wrote tickets and stuff, I wanted to do my job, and nobody else wanted to write any tickets because I didn't want to get out of the police department. They didn't want to leave. They wanted to sit right there all day. I'm sorry, but that's just the facts. I worked midnight shift, and they would bring in. Are you there?
I'm listening.
I worked midnight shift, my first midnight shift, and there was a bar fight at T&H right there across from where Traders is now, right there by the market. There was a bar there called the T&H, and there was a guy named John Browning, and he had a warrant on him. And I went in. They thought I wouldn't go in, and it was Chris Bowman and Brian Pauley, where the cops that waited outside didn't come in to assist me. They waited outside to see how I handled myself. And the guy on the wall said, the guy that had the warrant, I said, you need to step outside so I can speak to you, sir. And he said, F you. And I said, no. I said, we need to talk. You have a warrant. And he said, F you. And I said, listen. I sat down next to him at the bar, and I said, if you kick my ass, everybody here is going to say, man, you kicked that dyke cop's ass. And they'll put your picture up on the wall, and they'll slide you down beers. But what if I kick your ass? You'll never be able to walk in here again. He got right up and went outside.
And he walked out the door on his own, right?
Yes.
You didn't have to attack him at all, did you?
Didn't have to touch him.
Right. And now we see on camera Blankenship and the other piece of garbage, McKnight, they're attacking a guy in a convenience store. Then they arrest him and his wife.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's another story a woman told me today. The woman who got arrested told me. So.
Wow.
That's what they're doing now. Well, they arrest two people. If they can arrest two people for the same call, even if one called for help from the other person, then that's even better. Or if they can arrest one guy.
They've done no renovations to that jail, and the jail was always full.
Renovation, it needs to be condemned. You need to educate people and help them get off drugs.
They never.
You just keep helping them until they get off drugs. Surround them with love and counseling and help them get off drugs. Help them become a stable, functioning person of society. Or you get this wasteland America where there's zombies walking everywhere because we refuse to take care of people. Instead, we put them in a fucking dungeon. And it's disgusting. It makes me sick. And they wonder why I hate them. You're ruining our country, you dirty pigs. You're ruining America. You lock someone away for drugs, you create someone who could then become criminal and still addicted to drugs. And they now have been damaged by the rape cage. I would never do that to another human being. So it's just disgusting. And we're going to stop it. And we're going to introduce transparency. That's what we're going to do. Transparency.
Well,
the new way.
Good luck with that.
We'll see. It'll happen. Listen, we better go. You were telling me. No, you told me the story. You told me that that you walked him out the door just by using your words. Exactly. Right. Now imagine if you walk up with an iPhone, you could be a 20-pound girl. You could be a 100-pound girl, and say, "Hey, Billy, I got listen. You're on camera, man. You know, but I'm talking about the real rough edge one. You're on camera. Got a warrant for you. You got to come, dude. There's people, everything changes. It's done. Everything. Right. It's done. It's done. You don't have to have any gun on you. You got to come with me, dude. But the difference is when you got to come with me, it's to mandatory education. It's to having to learn English. But you don't have to kidnap people out of their daily lives. You just have to teach them and educate them language and mathematics, and their brain will change. Love them and support them and help them get off drugs. We're paying welfare and disability for so many tens of millions and hundreds of millions of people in America now. You could give COVID shots to everybody. We couldn't do it for insulin. We couldn't stop the manufacturers of the sugar companies, the sugar box cereal, making the cartoons of the dancing bears and the dancing frogs. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Meanwhile, your kid is at sugar levels at 200. We could never say that you can't use cartoon characters anymore to advertise sugar cereals to kids. It's a whole messed up system, and I'm going to change it. It's that simple.
Well, good for you.
No. Good for us, Beth. This is our first conversation. Wait till we listen to the first tape and we talk again.
Okay.
All right? So text me where you're going to be tomorrow. I'll call you when I'm free. I got to track down the mayor tomorrow. So, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, Beth. No, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm so rough, but thank you.
That's okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Bye, honey.
So I'm with Beth Rist.
Rist.
Yes. And Beth was a police officer here in Ironton, Ohio, from 1996 until 2008. And she has documented to me and given me some tapes and an entire, how big is that thing, you think?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a big tote.
A big tote full of records. And what she's doing is she's verifying that there's corruption, thievery, assault. It's systemic, and it's all through the police department. Isn't that what you said last night on the phone call?
Yes, sir. Has been for years.
Has been for years. And why? How come you're not a cop anymore?
Because I got fired over a traffic citation. I was trying to help a lady out with a break, and then she ended up testifying in court on my behalf, saying that James P. Carey, the chief of police at that time, told her if she didn't pursue the complaint against me that he would take her kids. So she testified in court and did a deposition over here at Ohio University Southern, and the dates are all in that box. But so she basically testified that they forced her to pursue charges against me, or they was going to take her kids, and they fired me over it. So, but
they threatened to take her children if she didn't
didn't pursue the complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, here you have an officer that runs over Guy Thomas and kills him and drags his body all the way to the police department, and he don't get fired. They relocate him and get him to safety and his family to safety and get him out of the projects because there was a black and white issue. And I don't know if you've heard about Guy Thomas.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Sure. He got drugged underneath the car for 8 or 9 blocks.
Yeah.
8 or 9. Not 1 or 2, not a half or 1, not 100 feet or 120 feet, 8 or 9 blocks.
Yeah.
8 or 9. Okay, got that. So now, can you kind of start back a little bit further? Why do you have any problems with the police department?
I don't have any problems with the police department. I just want the truth to come out about my story. After I got fired in 2008, in 2009 I ran for city council, and the people in this town knew what they had done to me, and they elected me. And they elected me 3 times, and I just retired on November 30th of 2021, just because I've been working for the city for 26 years, and I'm exhausted.
So you were on the city council, huh?
Yes.
And at that time when you were on the city council, you knew of widespread corruption all throughout the police department?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all in my documents in the lawsuit. City of Ironton versus Rist. It's online. Anybody can read it.
How do you spell Rist?
R-I-S-T.
R-I-S-T. City of what?
Ironton.
Versus Rist?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's online, and it's case law.
And what does your lawsuit say? What's the damages you had, and what did you receive?
Well, they cited me they charged me with tampering with evidence because of the ticket, and then after that they tried to charge me with tampering or with they switched it to a misdemeanor. If I would admit I'd done something wrong, they would make it a misdemeanor, so I wouldn't go to jail for 5 years.
What's the ticket for?
Expired tags.
Expired tags. So
yeah.
You're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now, when we talked yesterday, we talked about a couple things where you've seen police physically assault people who are in handcuffs.
Yes, that goes on a lot.
That goes on a lot. So pretty much every cop you worked with, you saw at one point or another they did something violent to somebody?
Not everyone, but 75%.
Yeah. Including Pam Wagner?
I've never seen her do anything other than kick. Whenever we had to deal with Jesse Johnson, she used to kick him around a little bit, but in the alley behind PNC. But I always felt sorry for him, and so I was always, yes sir, no sir, and come on in, Jesse, and I'll help you. You know, you want to go to jail, there's 3 hots in a cot, and I was always good to him. You can ask anybody I've arrested. I've always been nice and professional, and I would never threatened anybody. And
how many times did Pam beat up Jimmy?
Jimmy.
That was his name, Jimmy. The guy's name? She kicked?
Jesse Johnson.
Jesse Johnson. How many times did she beat up Jesse Johnson?
Oh, I don't know. I've seen probably maybe 3 times. She just kicked him.
Every time? So, she just kicked him 3 times each time? 1, 2, 3, just 3 kicks?
No. She kicked him one time behind PNC in the alley, but he was laying underneath some steps. And then she did over in an abandoned house behind Rich Oil where the new bridge is now.
Another just straight kick?
Yeah. And told him to get up, and he was laying in animal feces and his own feces, and he was just the town drunk, and everybody knew him. We arrested him over 100 times. I mean, he
she just kicked him around a few times, huh?
Yeah.
So it was just. So are you telling me that every time she kicked him around was just one swift kick? Is that what you're saying?
To my knowledge, yes. It's what I can remember. That was been a while ago. And we got along fine. We took the test at the same time, and I got hired first, and then she got hired, and then after I got sergeant, all the rules changed.
What do you mean?
I didn't have no authority.
I have a question for you. So, what do you mean, though, after you got sergeant, all the rules changed?
Well, I took the sergeant's test with Pam and Brian Caskey, and I scored the highest, and I got sergeant. And then after I got sergeant, the sergeant didn't have no authority anymore. I wasn't allowed to write people up like Jim Carrey wrote me up all the time. I've got all those. That's all in the lawsuit.
Are you shaking right now?
No, well, it just unnerves me to have to relive it again. I don't want to relive it again.
She's shaking. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just, don't want to get shot on my front porch or something.
Whole body's trembling. Well, why would you be shot on your front porch?
Well, that's just stranger things have happened,
Who would shoot you with all the cameras around? You have a camera on? You should have cameras on your house.
No, I used to, but that was back when I was working. They're disconnected now.
So now Pam, she's kicking around Johnson, right? And that's what she does. And then who else does those things?
Well, most of the people that bothered me aren't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Tony Forrest. He never gave me any trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Joe Ross. Joe Ross never gave me any trouble.
You gotta look my way because I can't hold the arm anymore.
Okay.
I'm out of that space.
Okay.
I can't do it anymore. So I have to more look at you. I'm sorry.
Well.
But the question I have is there's people who are abusers on that police force.
Yes.
And I just want to get them off that force. That's all I want to do.
I understand that.
That's my most important thing. And cuffs got to go because they're torture. You know how bad they hurt. They're horrible. You've seen your colleagues abuse people using cuffs. We know this. So who's on the force now that's been abusive?
I'm not sure because I've been on city council for 12 years and I haven't. I've supported them for 12 years after they took my job away.
What about Goo?
Well, I told you that last night. I'd rather not repeat that.
Repeat what?
About him hitting the guy in the back of the neck up at Pick and Save parking lot when he was cuffed. Instead of putting his hand on his head and saying, "Sir, would you please step in the back of the vehicle?" he just hit him in the back of the neck and knocked him in there. And I don't remember what year that was, but it's all in those documents.
Seems like you have a hard time talking to me about this, Seems like you have a hard time. Is it the truth you have a hard time with?
No, it's not the truth I have a hard time with. It's the people believe in me, and when I say things, they knew what went on. I was in the paper all the time.
Who said? Who you're saying? So you're bitter about you losing your job, is what I'm getting.
I'm bitter because I got fired for helping somebody, giving somebody a break, and not towing their car on an expired tag ticket, and let the daughter drive off with an expired tag ticket, and didn't tow the lady's car because I felt bad for him. So I had written on the ticket no insurance, and then she called and threatened me that she lost her license. And I said, I saved you about $190 on towing your car, and you're trying to file a complaint on me? So once the police department got a hold of the complaint, especially James P. Carey, they went wild with it.
Who did?
The chief of police.
And what did the chief of police do?
Well, he just made sure everything was in the paper, and I wrote a letter to the Attorney General of Ohio, and he printed it, and he had it printed in the newspaper.
Oh, he used the newspaper against you?
Yes.
He used the press against you?
Yes.
Interesting. That happened to me today. You hear about the school lockdown today?
Yes.
They said that I had sent a video to someone. They retracted the story.
They did retract it?
Yeah, right, but does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
So this, I said to the girl today at the press, you guys have been colluding with the powers that be for long enough. Why don't you just be honest? Because she's the one that set it up. She's the one that read the first presser. That I had sent a video off to somebody and it freaked them out, and that was a lie. They lied. Did they lie about you in the press here?
They stretched the truth quite a bit, and I was going to sue the Tribune too, but I didn't.
Is that cop's wife? You said your neighbor's a cop?
No, he lives right over here. He's a bailiff.
So, Knox...
He's a good man, but you had an altercation with him the other day, but he is a good man.
No, he's not.
Well, in my opinion, he is.
He puts people in torture cuffs, dude. Don't you guys get that? You have a warped sense of reality. He puts people in torture cuffs, Beth. It's torture. Nobody belongs in those. Why don't you get that?
I do get it.
Well, then he's not a good guy. Why would I...
I've known him for 30 years. He's a good man. He just
puts people in torture cuffs.
Well, that's part of it, unfortunately.
Ugh. I would protest. Once I put them on for 10 minutes myself, and someone said, "This is how we treat people," I would protest. I would say, "This is terrible."
Well, everybody's afraid to stand up to him, and
you're afraid.
I'm concerned because I don't want any more trouble with him. But
You said someone would shoot you down dead on your porch. For what? You only told me Goo punched a guy in the back of the neck. You haven't told me anything.
Well,
you haven't told me anything. I got to listen to these tapes.
Yeah, I wore a wire because I was getting threatened at work, and so that's what those tapes are of.
In 2008. Who's the cops that were there in 2008?
Oh, well, there's a whole list of them in the paperwork in that box, but I don't want to list all their names. I really don't want to do that.
Why?
Because it's all in there. I mean, all you gotta do is check it out.
No, I could falsify records, they would say. I could change things. I could add things that weren't there. I could do all kinds of things. It came straight from the horse's mouth. That changes everything. You know that. Isn't that what cops do? They try to get you to confess to something you didn't do. That's what they do, right? So how many of those happened in front of you? I mean, come on, how many do you know about, that you heard about, where they made someone confess who didn't do it? There's so many things you could tell me that you're not telling me. It drives me crazy.
Well,
we know.
It might drive you crazy, but it's been 12 years.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, 12 years and 2 heart attacks later. So I'm not, I try to get that out of my mind instead of focusing on all that I have for years.
It's never going to go away. You have to repent. You have to repent. And your only repentance, it has to be through public disclosure. I don't want anybody to see I made anything up. I mean, the audio tape should say a lot, but you should just tell me the truth now while we have you on video.
Well, I did last night.
On audio.
I'd rather not be on video.
I get it. But listen, you're a human, but you need, what we're going to do, this is so much bigger than just me and you talking. I've created a whole new system. Just regular old me. I just created a whole new system, right? That lays out everything in detail. And that's what this is. I told you. You've never met anybody like me. And I don't know why I'm the way I am. But this is my purpose. I'm supposed to change
I understand that.
I hated so badly being in the dungeon. I hated it so bad. It hurt me so deeply they would lock up a free spirit. I'm a free person. I don't hurt anybody else. I would protect you.
Right.
Even if you were wrong, I wouldn't let them hurt you. And they did that to me. And when I was in the dungeon, it was the worst time of my life. Never had a worst period. It was like being in hell. It was terrifying. It was hell. And I'm going to change it to transparency and education. That's what this is. You are supposed to truly join me. So it's going to take a little time maybe, but you need to start to say, Pam did this, and she did this, and he did that. The guy that stole all the evidence room. Tell me about the evidence room.
Well, that was just a common knowledge that Grover Carter, he was an older cop when I got hired. It was just common knowledge that he would take guns out of the evidence room and take them home with him. And I never thought anything about it because it was just something that happened, and I didn't want to put my 2 cents in because I got reprimanded for everything I did. And
he would just take guns that you got at where?
Well, just on calls and pulling people over. If they'd confiscate a gun, it would be logged into the evidence room, but then later on it wouldn't be able to be located.
And how often that happened?
Several times.
Hundreds?
I don't know about hundreds, but a lot.
So you told me last night.
Okay.
So it was regular all the time. There was
Yeah.
tons of evidence logged in, and they could never find the evidence if it had any value. If it was a gun or valuables, gone. Money. It's like,
pocket knives, stuff like that. People would come in and want their stuff that they was took from them when they got pulled over, and then they would say, "Well, we don't have it. We don't have it." The dispatcher would say, "We don't have it," and there was a dispatcher that was very close to me, Tina White, and they knew she was gonna, in arbitration, that she was going to testify for me because we were so close and she knew all what I'd been through. And they arrested her on a drug charge and sent her to prison. And that was just kind of odd. She's passed away now. But it's just they just do people wrong. And I don't know anything about McKnight or Blankenship's because I've been going too long.
Yeah, but there's another thing here. You told when she was being badly abused, eventually she ran off and fired because she was tried to be a decent human within the system she joined. And so then you tell the mayor that these guys are abusing you, treating you like dog shit.
Differential treatment's how I clarified it.
They cut a cat down the middle, threw it over their fence.
They cut a cat guts out and threw it over my fence, and then the next day Bill Garland said I smell dead, P-U-S-S-Y.
Who's Bill Garland?
Was my captain, and he hated me, and he wrote me up all the time and followed me on calls and would sit a block away and watch me and listen to me on the radio, and he just harassed me the whole time. He's the one that hit me in the back in '97 for no reason.
It seems to be a pattern here that the cops like to abuse or stalk or, women. They like to go against women. We heard about Hanshaw with his, searching kids in the bathroom. Just Hanshaw on the kid. Just the Hanshaw on the kid, and the Hanshaw is going to search.
I haven't heard that.
Oh no, I heard it from the kids themselves.
Oh.
That's what's going on at the school. So to the guy who came in, there was a guy who came into the middle of the thing today. When you talk about, I'm not live, so I'm not talking to anybody. So anyway, sorry. But when you talk about that, then you talk about, that's the danger. So.
I understand what you're doing.
So so then you went and told the mayor that these guys had done this to you. Who was the mayor?
Yeah, at that time it was Bob Clary, which I told you he's a good man.
He's a good
man. Tried to help me. He wrote a memo and told him, had a talk with him and told him to quit treating me differently. And he did take up for me, but nobody was fired or reprimanded.
Did any of the abuse stop?
For a little bit, it did. For about 2 months, maybe. And then we had another mayor, John Elam. I told him the same thing. I let him know what was going on. And he tried to help with paperwork. But, oh no, here comes a friend of mine. He might want to talk to you.
I don't want to be the only thing live up. Are we being posted right now?
We're rolling. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I'll just talk to you.
You want to talk about something private?
Yeah, just.
If it's private, I'll keep it private.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we talk one here in Ironton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you see what happens with transparency?
Yes.
All of a sudden, that keeps honest people honest, because everybody can see. Whoa. He's just sitting there.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. And for years we've watched police videos where we watch them abuse people and they go, oh, well, what happened before that? And now because there's so many cameras, we see he was sitting on his couch before that.
Yeah.
He was walking on the street eating a hamburger before that, before some cop attacked him. So you were saying about, you went to the mayor, and so the first guy you went to, though, he was in charge and heads didn't roll. He reprimanded them through a memo, and he told those boys to stop picking on her, but nothing really got better. Maybe for a couple months it did, and then because nothing happened and no heads rolled and there was no precedent set, no discipline, no honor,
it started right back up.
No integrity, then it just started right back up because what was the guy's name again?
Bob Clary.
Bob Clary. See, but Bob the whole time, Bob's the good cop. You're a friend. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. You're my buddy. I'll tell those boys to stop picking on you. Right? And then nothing happens. It's a great big nothing burger. So then the second mayor comes in, you tell him.
Yes, I tell him, and he was aware of what was going on. Nothing happened. But then Rich Blankenship got mayor, and I called him several times when they would do stuff to me, and he said he would take care of it, but yet when I filed a grievance and I had my hearing with my attorney in his office, he wouldn't let any witnesses on my side testify. I was not allowed to have any witnesses.
Who didn't?
Rich Blankenship, the mayor.
Any relation to the current police who are Blankenship?
I'm not sure. I don't know if he is or not.
Any relation to Carl Blankenship?
I don't know.
And so Rich Blankenship does nothing?
No, he wouldn't allow me to have witnesses. I've got the article back there in the box, and it's on the front page. It says he didn't allow my witnesses, and my attorney talks about it. And but they put me through the ringer in the press, and it was an everyday thing for a while. And I think there's probably 22, 23 front page pictures, and the pictures are this big of me, of my face, I mean, with big bold letters, and everybody knew who I was. they didn't have to do that and crucify me in the media, but they did. And then there was that Topics group. Have you ever heard of that Topics website where people go and say stuff about other people? I went through that, and
I might be going through it now.
Yeah,
the topic.
I don't even think we have it anymore.
You got to check the Facebook pages, man. They love rooting out corruption.
Yes.
So now, tell me where we are in the story. When you say harassing you, what do you mean? What are they doing to harass you?
Well, they would just. When I was the only woman, they would go in just anything to get to me. They went in my locker room, and it was just for the female dispatchers and me, and they put a junior cop badge on my locker. It said junior officer. And so then when I was on bike patrol, someone cut the spoke on my bike, and that they came to my house and walked in my bedroom and made me give them my utility knife, thinking I did it myself. Why would I do that to myself and cause an accident? I had to have knee surgery, and I didn't need all that harassment. It was very. I've been in therapy for years over what they did to me.
Nobody did anything for you.
And no.
None of the mayors did. Even the one who was her friend. I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. And then he didn't do anything. And so there's no accountability because there's no transparency. There's no third party that looks over the mayor and says, "Hey, mayor, any big complaints this month?" There's no cameras that people go in the mayor's office. Why can't you see who goes? Because then if there was a camera in the mayor's office that went to a third party, then we would know on this date, on 2017 January, whatever the date is. We can go back and look and see if she went into the mayor's office without airing all of her personal or even invading the mayor's personal space. But nothing.
Right.
Nothing, Burger. So now are you going to sue them?
Well, I already did twice, and they settled out of court the first time. They offered me some money to resign, and I said I'll take half of that and keep my job because I didn't do anything wrong. And so then that was, I think, it's in the books back there. And then in 2010, I went to the court in Cincinnati, and it went to the federal judge, and the city council voted on whether or not to follow the arbitrator's ruling. That's my biggest issue. I won binding arbitration. That's from the union, and that's binding and legally binding. I had to pay $2,500. The city paid $2,500 to have the arbitrator come in, and then he told them to give me my job back, and they got a judge from Jackson named Fred Crow to come here and take my job back away from me. So that's about the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's all on the internet.
All right. Well, we'll disseminate these tapes. We'll download these tapes that I have.
Okay.
That I have here. This is where she wore a wire in the police department. I can, and I got a whole suitcase full of documents. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, buddy.